Modern women love emotional intelligent men with a masculine frame. Man, I've been with several hundreds of women. I have been in 3 long-term relationships of 3 years each, roughly, and I'm currently in a 5-year amazing relationship. And every woman I've been with has always been totally obsessed with me because of my masculine frame and my emotional intelligence. And I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to create your dream relationship that is full of passion and full of emotional intimacy. So why is emotional intelligence so sexy? Simply because women have evolved, man. They are not looking for a provider anymore because they're capable of providing for themselves, man. They are looking for men who can satisfy some of their more elevated prime desires, such as emotional connection, as well as emotional safety. So what does this actually mean, emotional connection or emotional safety? So emotional connection means that you're capable of connecting to her heart, that you have the key to her heart, as well as emotional safety means that you see her, you hear her, and there's a specific skill that you need to develop. And having coached around 200 men in the last couple of years, 2-3 years, I've noticed that there are 3 specific types of men: the Andrews and the Kevins, and then there's this ideal version that I help men become, which is Hercules, which is the man that no woman can ever get enough of, right? I'm going to teach you exactly how to become that version today. So you most likely will either recognize yourself as a Kevin or an Andrew. So what's the difference between these two? And by the way, I'm not going to judge you for anything over here. So Kevin is essentially, I've ranked them or labeled them according to their emotional intelligence as well as expression of masculinity. And what you'll notice is that Kevin is the hyper feminine guy. Kevin is driven purely by the fear of judgment of being perceived as a bad man, and he lets emotions dictate his life. So he is emotionally unintelligent, not because he's unaware of his emotions, but because he cannot regulate his emotions. He's totally guided by fear. And if you've done a lot of introspection, you will sort of see the theme of an anxious attachment style that he has here. And because of his anxious attachment style, which he hasn't worked through, he is incapable of setting boundaries. He overshares, as well as lets emotions totally dictate his life. He's a yes man, so to say. And why is this so unattractive for women? Simply because he essentially makes her feel unsafe because of his inability to regulate his emotions, because of his inability to work through his anxious attachment style. He is not capable of stepping into his masculine frame, which makes her feel unsafe. And it also, let me take a different pen, if she cannot feel safe, if she feels unsafe around Kevin, that means she has to step into her masculine energy herself, which essentially kills polarity, which essentially means that Kevin friend zones himself in the relationship. When I see this with so many guys happening that are like high achievers, who suddenly, like, they are Andrews in the real world, like in their career, so hyper masculine, hyper successful, but like when they like start loving a woman, they turn into an absolute Kevin. And that's because like finally all these wounds, those unresolved wounds, childhood wounds, whatever, start popping up. And it is so unattractive because like as a man, you're supposed to fucking work through this, but you've never been told properly or taught how to do this. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why you're not doing it. Fundamentally, what matters to women is whether or not you're capable of growing through this and evolving and letting go of this shit that you're carrying with you and actually become a man who regulates his emotions. So you need to, like, in order to stop being a Kevin and become more Hercules and lean towards your Herculean energy, is you need to step into your masculine energy, as well as by regulating your emotions, by embracing your fears. So how did I do it when I was a Kevin? I did a skydive, I did boxing, I did Muay Thai to embrace my masculinity and embrace my fear through activity and actions. And then also to work through my anxious attachment style, which I used to have because of being raised by my grandma without a masculine role model and my parents abandoning me, yada, 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 for whatever reason. You need to do a lot of introspection. You need to do an audit of what triggers you. Why do you keep saying yes when you want to say no? And asking yourself, okay, what you are so afraid of losing. And like, because most likely when you're in your Kevin energy, you've lost yourself, which means by losing yourself, you will not make her feel safe, as I said. And then, like, if safety, emotional safety for a woman is the fucking foundation. If she doesn't feel safe around you, she doesn't even open her heart up. She doesn't even show you that there's a lock to her to her heart. Yeah, she denies you that, and rightly so. By the way, man, what I teach you right now in this video is part of my raise module of my Hercules method. And yeah, man, that's where I teach men to become more emotionally intelligent without losing a masculine frame. And if you want to join, bro, there's a link in the pinned comment section or in the description. I would love to see you there. Check out the video in there and then join. Aside from Kevin, we have Andrew, as I said. So Andrew is the kind of hyper-masculine, avoidant man, yeah? So a lot of red pill guys are like act like an Andrew. So the issue, or like what makes Andrew actually emotionally unintelligent, because he's very well regulated in terms of emotions, right? The thing is, and this is the lie that red pill has taught a lot of guys, and is that only because you push your emotions down doesn't make you emotionally intelligent. Women will not be connected to an Andrew in the long term because Andrew denies this emotional connection. And even worse, and I see this with a lot of my hypermasculine clients, they don't create an emotional safe space for their women. They don't make her feel seen. They don't make her feel heard. Yeah. So they convey through their actions a lot of it conveys a lack of emotional maturity, a lack of an understanding of the feminine. So what do I mean by that? So for instance, a lot of these Andrew guys are hyper analytical, so they try to fix a problem. Yeah, when she comes home, she like bitches about her day or about her friends. They jump to be Bob the Builder and try to offer a solution when all she wants is to vent. Yeah, all she wants is to share. She doesn't want a solution to the problem, right? Because women, fundamentally, that's what you need to understand about women, is they want to, they bond by talking about a problem. They don't bond by fixing that problem. Men, we bond by fixing stuff. Yeah. So especially these high achieving guys, they lack the empathy. They lack the understanding of, like, the emotional understanding of what a woman experiences or goes through when she has a problem, and that's why they fix instead of just listen. Say like, hey, say things like, do labeling of her emotions, like, hey, it sounds like you're really upset, or is there anything I can do for you? You know. And then what I also see, and this is like really dangerous, because of the red pill being so like toxic, is that a lot of guys think that, I don't know, showing compassion, showing some sort of empathy makes them look weak. Yeah. They like, I used to be like this, bro. Like when a girl like I don't know, Kathy did something bad in my point of view, which wasn't actually even a big deal. I saw this as a threat to my masculine frame, so I punished her bad behavior. So I didn't text her. I left her on red. I played all these toxic games because I thought this is what makes me masculine, which is bullshit. All I was doing was pushing her further away. Yeah. Because I didn't ask myself, okay, like why did she act like this? Well, maybe because she was having a bad day. Maybe she didn't feel safe around me, you know? So for instance, like now with Sandra, I have the ability to I am so secure in myself, I can like let few things slide, you know, when like not every of her action has to be interpreted as a test of my frame, as a test of my masculinity, or as a sign of disrespect. Because I need to allow her to have a bad day as well, because that makes her feel emotionally safe around me. For instance, last week, Sandra was responsible for my meal prep, and she didn't prep my meal on time. Now I could see this as a sign of disrespect, or I could just say, hey, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, I'm super busy, I forgot. I'm like, okay, cool, no big deal. Could you just make it now? You're like, yeah, of course, I'm sorry. That's it. Simple as that. I had one guy who 3 weeks ago, he almost, like, his relationship, his girlfriend almost broke up with him because he like was so rigid by his principles. He was like, she complained about him being so stuck and stubborn about his principles that he sacrificed compassion, empathy, and love, and she closed up. So you need to be more able to like show like some compassion and empathy with women, if you want her to like truly fall in love with you, and not fall in love with you, but stick around and be loyal and create this emotional bond with you. And you do that by asking yourself, okay, like what are the stories that you live by? Like, what is true masculinity by your definition? Yeah. And also ask yourself, okay, what actually are your deepest desires and what are her deepest desires? I need you to swing back a bit from this emotionally stoic man that is. This is also big misconception when it comes to like stoicism. Stoicism doesn't mean that you should shut down your emotions. You need to release them, but you need to regulate them. You need to be in control of them. It's like what you guys need to stop doing is like pretending that only because you like put the trash from one room in another room that the trash suddenly doesn't exist anymore. You know, you just moved it somewhere else, and that's essentially obviously a metaphor and analogy for your fucking emotions. So for you to connect back with your emotions and connect to her on a more deeper emotional level, you should start asking yourself, what are your deepest desires? What are her deepest desires? What is she when she starts sharing or talking about the problem? What is she actually saying? Does she want my advice? What am I reading between the lines? What is her energy like, her vibration? What is her body language like, rather than just listening to her words? And also, man, this is gonna, like, I'm sure you're gonna hate me for saying this. Like, what are your biggest fears? You know, like, what are you so afraid of? Because a lot of men have such a fragile male ego nowadays that they're so afraid to like confront their deepest fears. You know,